Very pleasant good afternoon to you, our listening audience. My name is Connie George, the Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education. And today we are back. We are back this afternoon with our chat with the community. We have been coming to you on a weekly basis, and we have been sharing and having our guests share on various topics. And today is no less. We have, as usual, a lovely bunch with me, and we are going to be addressing the topic education now and in the future, embracing the changes. Before we begin any further, let us have a word of prayer. God, we thank you that this is another day that you have made. We are grateful for life, and we are even more grateful today that we have the opportunity for an education. You have been so good to us. And as we share, we ask that you will be with us. You'll guide the proceedings of this meeting. Bless the Minister of Education and the entire education system, all parents around the territory, students, teachers. Extend your hand to each one. We thank you for this time where we can share, encourage, and build up so that everyone can find a sense of comfort as they go forward. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much again for joining us. And it has become a regular thing for us to come to you and share positive things out of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Agriculture, Fisheries. And we want to share with you yet again. This is our fifth chat. We have had some parents, we have had some teachers, we have had community persons who have shared with us on various areas. But today I'm so happy to have the team that I have. I have quite a lovely gathering here, and it's a mix of parents, teachers, and students. That's awesome. That's so awesome. So we expect that today, like we did last week, we are going to be speaking about what's happening currently, your experiences, and then making some projections, and as you share with us your expectations for the upcoming school year. So let me allow my guests to introduce themselves. I'm going to begin on my left with Miss Leah Claxton.
Good afternoon. My name is Leah Claxton, and I'm a student attending the BVI Seventh-day Adventist School.
Thank you. It's good to have you. Xavier.
Good afternoon. My name is Xavier James, and I attend the Agnes Catholic Primary School.
Thank you. It's so good to have you. Mrs. Samantha Singh.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Samantha Singh. I'm a parent representing the Brigada Flax Secondary as a parent.
Brigada Flax Educational Center Secondary Division. We are so happy that you took the time to be with us this afternoon. Mr. Coy Smith.
Well, good afternoon, Sister George. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a parent of a student at the Elmo Stout Secondary School.
Thank you very much for being here. And finally, Mrs. Linda Graham Ugist.
Good afternoon, Mrs. George and listening audience. My name is Mrs. Linda Graham Ugist. I'm a teacher at the Jos Van Dyke Primary School.
So as you notice, we have tried to get persons from various places, and today we have the Sister Islands represented very well in this meeting today, and we are grateful for that. So we want to hear what's happening, what has been happening with you from the parent perspective, from the teacher perspective, and also from the student perspective. Online learning, online education. Tell me that we would have been doing this last September. I would have said no. We were literally thrust into this new idea, this new focus, without any warning, without, for many of us, a whole lot of planning. But from where I sit, I want to say that we have made some significant strides towards excellence and improving our way of doing things via the online learning. So I am going to let you tell us, that's from where I sit, what is happening from where you sit. What have your experiences been like? And how do you see us moving forward come September, for example? Mr. Smith, parent, Elmo Stout High School. Give us your experiences with the online. You became a teacher overnight. and you still remained a parent. Instead of dropping your children to school, school remained in your home. Talk to us about your challenges and your successes. Talk to us.
Okay, well, definitely embracing the change for this, what we call a new norm. It has been difficult in the early aspect of the online schooling. Some of the challenges we had was actually the invitations perhaps were not received, I guess, in a timely manner. The links were a bit challenging in terms of accessing them, so that created a bit of a nervousness. The response time from the teachers sometimes had a little bit of a delay. Maybe, I don't know if it's, here we have a wonderful communication service, so sometimes you get good service, sometimes you don't get good service, but you just have to adjust to what goes on, Yes. And in the classroom, adjusting for the scheduling, getting the students to actually get accustomed of monitoring their time and actually managing their assignments.
Right.
That was something that pretty much we had to make preparation for, and ensuring that they stay engaged.
Right.
Because obviously the teacher is not there.
Right.
So nobody's there. Hey, I just have to be online, but I can do other stuff. They can't see me. So you as a parent had to ensure that that's in check. So parent playing a greater role as well was kind of a difficult thing, because you have work. So have to make adjustment to ensure that your child is not negatively impacted by this whole adjustment of online schooling, in terms of they perhaps being behind. So those were some of the challenges. The successes, however, children became more tech savvy.
Yes.
So that was good to know that.
And parents, I may add.
And parents as well, because
definitely
parents, you had to actually get engaged with the whole learning process with your child online. So that it enhanced both parent and student in terms of being tech savvy.
Thank you. Mrs. Singh, what have your experiences been like as a parent?
As a parent, my experience with online learning due to the COVID-19 virus pandemic has been, for the most part, extremely positive.
Right, okay.
For success,
That's nice.
For success, it was very rewarding to observe my daughter self-confidence grow as she become more adept, deductive reasoning, and familiar with mathematical formulas. However, the challenges were usually caused by the interruption due to poor internet services. She also missed being an actually classroom with her teachers and classmates.
Yes, that I can attest to, because I've heard that so many times when I'm asked, when are we going back to school? And the only reason I'm given, I want to see my friends. I want to be with my friends. And I'm just like, really? But that's healthy, actually very, very healthy. So thank you, Ms. Singh, for sharing your challenges and your successes. Let me turn my attention to the students now. I'm happy to have you. Ms. Claxton, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tell us about your journey. From the first day you heard about online education to now, things that worked, that did not work, how do you feel? And what can you do to help to improve this whole thing as well as online learning? Talk to us.
Well, my experience with online education was extremely good. It was never really a problem for me, since I am used to using technology and I can maneuver online quite easily. In a way, my school prepared me for the transition, because I had already been receiving and sending assignments online.
Right.
And I was no stranger to the platforms. However, some of my peers expressed their dislike for online classes.
Right.
They explained that they had trouble focusing because of distractions such as phones. One problem that we had during this time, as she said, was internet connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
Another issue that I had was interaction between myself and my teachers. I found it hard to engage in meaningful conversation with them, and I would oftentimes have to go over the subject material on my own after classes. I believe that teachers should work to keep students more interested in class by introducing new methods of teaching, perhaps by playing games. Initially, I missed seeing my friends, but gradually I got used to the separation. So those were my problems.
Quite a mouthful, quite a good thought I heard coming from you. You said you had trouble focusing initially, internet connectivity and the interaction with your teachers, but you got over those things and then it was smooth sailing. Should I say that? It was smooth sailing thereafter. But you then sent out a hard plug to your teachers and said, you know, do some different methods here, which I think we would talk a little bit about later. Mr. Xavier, how are you? You're fine. Tell us about your experience, what you have enjoyed with online education, and what are some of the difficulties you had.
Me personally speaking, some things I have enjoyed about online learning is that I like to see the teachers, some of my teachers, go the extra mile to ensure that the students are submitting their work on time.
Right.
I also like that you can submit your work as you finish and it's quicker and easier to find your work.
Yes, okay.
Some difficulties that I am having with online learning is as everyone else said, the internet connectivity, and being that some teachers are getting kicked off and then students tend to say stuff and do stuff as they would like.
Okay.
So because there's no adult in the room.
All right.
And that are some of the pros and cons that I have about
All
online
right.
learning.
Awesome. Some of the pros and cons, he says. So when I listen to you, I realize that you seem like a very focused young man, which is absolutely incredible. I applaud you for your focus. But you have been benefiting from the online learning, have you? Yes.
In a way, I kind of see myself benefiting, but I still have some struggles in class. For example, mathematics. I have to learn like physical so I can be in the classroom and see what the teacher is doing sometimes to understand better.
All right. Okay, so you're telling me, I like this online thing, but I would prefer to be in the school.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a nice punch indirectly. So Ms. George, get those schools going for me. Teacher Linda, as you're so famously called, talk to us. And I'm happy to have you from Just Van Dyke.
I'm happy to be here.
Share your main takeaways with the online experience.
In March, the pandemic had forced us into this new norm of online learning. At the initial stage, it was very, very difficult for us, for the parents, for the teachers, because it's the first time actually going online, using devices to do classes. Parents had difficulty getting on to the classes, like he said, finding the invite that was sent by teachers. Students had difficulty with internet. Some students at the first week, a lot of students didn't have devices, so that was a challenge. So I actually had to get some students come over one-on-one to give them the lessons that they missed. The first students were now have a new routine to follow. It's no longer getting up in the morning, getting ready to go to school at 9:30. So it's a whole new routine. I know they're at home with their parents. So they have to make sure they sign on time for their classes. They have to, when classes are over, they have to make sure they complete their assignments. They have time allotted for that. And also, the students have to make sure they turn in their assignments on time.
On time, right.
Exactly, because they do not know what assignments are graded, so it's important for them to be able to turn in their assignments on time. Certain concepts are very difficult to teach through online learning.
Right.
Like our students from, as Descatliff said, for mathematics, and I teach mathematics, it's difficult to teach some concepts through online learning. You need hands-on, like he said, he needs to do things. So I actually have a chalkboard at home that I use. I show it in the camera so the students can actually follow along with me as I teach certain concepts at home.
Very good, very good. So I hear you talk about routine. I hear you talk about some difficulties with online learning in terms of some subjects. For the most part, it seems as if we have been able to iron out most of the issues.
Yes, most.
But we are still, there's some key things that, we need to plug at some more to ensure that we get that. And that's why I'm going to go back to Mr. Smith and ask him to give me 2 recommendations that he thinks the ministry should make when it comes to this online experience, how to improve what we are doing and what we have done so far.
Well, I think feedback is always great, provide an opportunity for parents to actually share positive feedback or concerns about what is happening online. I think that is healthy. Also, all teachers should allow the students to have access to the information that was shared in the class. So maybe the slides, I don't know, but if that can be accessible, so that when we as parents now perhaps come home, we can actually go through it too with the students. I think those are things that can be done in terms of enhancing as we go forward to this new norm.
Right, and that's actually interesting, and because we've been getting that from a number of parents. Could you give us access to the slides
Right.
that in our time when we get back, we can always check to see what the child really should have done during the day. Now that is really an advantage for the online, because once the child came home, no notes in their books, no information for you to check at. You have no idea what the child should have really done that day. But with this, I thank you for that, and I thank you for reiterating that, and I thank you for the suggestion also that you would like to see more discussion with the parents and get them going, because we have that as part of our focus where we want to do some focus group with parents. So listen out, parents, we may be calling on you, and if you would like to be, you could also reach out to us and say, I want to be. Yes, sir.
Well, actually, it's a partnership process. If parents and teachers and students, if we all partner together, we can actually make it work. But if we don't have that partnering in progress, there'll be lots of hiccups and lots of setbacks.
Yes, definitely. So we want to really build and continue to build that parent, teacher, student ministry partnership that exists. Ms. Singh, when Ms. Teacher Linda spoke, she said some things about routine. And over several weeks, just about all my guests at some point spoke about ensuring that there is a routine. I want you to tell us about your daily routines with your children. What has been working for you? Have you had any challenges with your routine? And if you have, how have you been dealing with managing the challenges?
Okay, well, the first phase of online learning, I had to manage time.
Yes.
So I did that, and I adapt the schedule, which is her timetable.
Yes.
So I adapt to that. So when I did that, I got good remarks with that. So, for example, if she in the morning she get up, she have breakfast.
Okay.
She have to go on Google Classroom when she finished, just to take off at her homeroom. Present.
Right,
so her
okay.
homeroom teacher would see she's present.
Right.
After that, she will go to her email address to see the next subject. So when she done that, she can see if she have a WebEx meeting.
A live one.
Yes. So she will do that. So when she finished like maths and English for the morning, lunchtime I would take them for drive. Like
Really?
at the supermarket to get a little snacks because I have a kindergarten.
Okay.
She need a little break.
Okay.
So when we come back, she would check back her email again to check her work. She finished all her work. So in the afternoon now, I let them run in the yard. We have space. So they can, have activities like, so be a
Outdoor.
child.
Okay.
Yes, so they enjoy it, playing ball, or we would say, as the Caribbean people, we will play a little cricket.
Okay, cricket,
Yes.
okay.
So our schedule was very good. It was
Alright.
essential, yes. But we, as a team player in our house, yes. So we have team players, so we succeed.
All right. Seems as if you have quite a steady routine there for your children, which I would like to encourage all parents to do, because that's one of the things that the children are accustomed to when they go out to school. They must be up and ready to move out of the house. They must get to school, their assemblies, their prayers, then start their first lessons. They have their break in a scheduled time. They have their lunch in a scheduled time, and then classes continue. So these are very important routines that the children must maintain, even though they are at home, to give them that feel of school. Because as I've been saying for the last 5 weeks, we do have real school. And I have to keep saying that because a number of the students are thinking that school will soon start. They're not aware of the fact that we have started. So I want to really stress that point. Leah, talk to us. Tell us a little bit of your ideas. What would you like to see happening next school year? In the same COVID-19 environment, and I am told that we will have to be in this mode for a little bit longer, how would you like to see school move forward for next school year?
Well, I think that we should continue with the online education in the future because the world is rapidly developing and we would be moving towards that anyway. However, I don't think that it should be completely online because, as he said, some children need physical interaction and we all have different ways of learning. So I think that we should have a balance between online schooling and physical classroom and contact.
All right. So you're right up the alley of what we have been thinking about in the ministry. And there's actually an educational term for all of that. It's called blended learning. And maybe next week we'll come back and we'll share with the listening audience all about blended learning and what it's going to do and how it can work and how their part they'll have to play in this whole process. Xavier, how can parents help their primary school children to do well with online school?
Parents, to me, can help their primary school children to do better with online schooling by ensuring that they do all their assignments, and when they come home, maybe help them out, check over the work, go over the work with them,
Yes.
and talk to the teachers to find out if there's any missing work.
Right.
And just to explain and make sure that your child is understanding what he or she is doing.
All right. Thank you so much. Parents, did you hear that? I hope you did. That came directly from the child. They need you to be there as a part of this process ongoing. You're out to work, but when you get home, make sure you check that they have done what they need to do. Teacher Linda, you have been in the classroom. What can parents do to improve things for teachers in the online environment?
Well, it may be a challenge, but we have to treat online learning just like students going to a physical classroom. Parents have to play an active role to help ensure that learning takes place. First of all, with online learning, they have to make sure they have adequate internet so that the students can have access to the online learning with their devices. They also have to make sure that students have the devices that they needed in order to connect. First, parents also have to make sure that students are comfortable when having online classes. When they're in the classroom, we as teachers have to make sure that they are comfortable and that the environment is conducive to learning. So some parents went out of the way to actually purchase a desk
Yes. All right.
and set up the little classroom in
setting.
the homes, so they have the classroom set in there. And sometimes we find that the students who have those kind of settings are the ones that are more engaged
Yes.
in learning because
Right.
they are comfortable. So I would encourage parents to make sure that students are as comfortable
Yes.
as possible at home.
Right.
Okay. Another one I would do is to make sure that students attend classes on time,
On time. Right.
because time wasted, we can't get it back. There are some times when teachers sign in and then we have to be there waiting for a while for students to come in. What I do not like to move on or continue my classes without, even if there's one child not in, I do not like to continue my class without the child.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that all my students are in. So I would actually call the parent, or we have the WhatsApp class chat,
Right.
send out a quick message and to let them know that classes is about to begin. Just to
right.
make sure that I have all the students in. Another thing that parents can do is to make sure that children are properly dressed
Ah,
for
all right.
for online classes, because there's a lot of distractions when the cameras are on. They pay attention to what their friends are wearing and stuff like that. So going to the physical classroom, the students have to be properly dressed for school.
Yes.
So what we did at Just the Next School, thanks to Miss Blyden, our principal, we have our students wear their shirt, their uniform shirt.
Okay.
So every morning you go on, the students are all dressed and they look so nice in their red uniform. When they have PE, they wear the PE uniform because that's to do physical. And even on a regular, when they have house on Friday, they wear the house shirt.
Right.
So making sure that they are properly dressed
Right.
is important. And because of that, no more distractions.
Distractions are gone.
Yeah.
Good.
Another thing is to make sure that child complete assignments on time. I would encourage parents to make sure that students complete their assignment on time. Sometimes parents complain and say it's a lot of work, that they get more work through online learning than actually being in the classroom.
Okay.
And students would also say the same thing, but students do not know. Sometimes we tell them what assignments are graded, but they do not know sometimes. So it's important for them to complete everything. Communication is very important as well. I would encourage parents to communicate with their teachers,
Yes.
Try to get feedback, find out how their children is doing the progress and stuff like that. I encourage my parents to, any time of day, they can call me, they can WhatsApp me, they can send me emails, and they do that a lot.
Okay.
So if they're having difficulties getting on in class, they learn right now to send me an email quickly and let me know before I even have to call them.
Right.
So communication is very important with teachers and students with this online learning.
Right.
And another thing is I would encourage parents to communicate with their children, encourage your child, show interest in your students' learning. Sometimes children just need to hear when they come home from work, how was your day today? You know, did you complete all your assignments? What can I help you? Where do you need help? And show that support for their children.
All right, thank you. So you got quite a number of tips that you, as a parent, can do to help the teachers with online learning. Now, with our last couple of minutes in this broadcast today, I know that the online learning brought a different kind of stress to everybody, ministry personnel, at the school level, students, you had your own kind of stress. And so I'm going to ask a direct question as to where we see this whole online thing going, and if we're going to continue, how can we ensure that we're going to alleviate some of this kind of stress that we had in the past. So I'm going to begin with the students. Leah, Xavier, should we continue with online education in the future? That's my question to you. Because of all that has happened, should we continue with this? Why? If you say yes, then why? If you say no, then why not? So let me hear from Leah first.
Well, I believe that we should continue with online education because that is how the world is heading anyway. And I think that it helps to better our interpersonal relationships with our parents because they have to spend more time actually speaking to us and paying attention to us. So I think that we should continue with online education, maybe not completely and do blended learning as you said, but I think that we should continue.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Xavier?
Me speaking, I have different mixed feelings about online education.
Right.
Because for me, I would say yes, but still no at the same time. As you said, blending learning because everyone learns in different ways and it's not that everybody is techno-savvy or can operate the computer or has a computer. You know, that type of way. And some parents just want to help their children see the best. So I personally don't think that we should continue with it. I like the classroom better
Okay.
because you
okay.
get to interact with your teacher and you get to have more fun.
Okay.
But I do
Okay.
like online learning because it is easier to share the content and you can share like videos
Right, et
instead
cetera.
of when you have the classroom you have to call up everyone
Okay.
to the computer or the TV.
Okay.
So yes.
You have mixed feelings.
Yes.
So you have the strong points for the get me back in the classroom, and you have those little points that I will live with it if it stays around.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Parents, Mrs. Singh and Mr. Smith, tell us about areas where you saw growth in your children in this online learning. Mr. Smith, are you going to go first?
Oh, sure. Definitely, there was and is growth. Children are more focused on what is to be done on a daily basis. So I think that is a plus. Close monitoring of the performance on assignments. I think that's healthy as well. So there are benefits that are coming from it. I think we can, as the juniors say, a blend. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes. Okay.
Because that's where we're going anyhow. So I
Okay.
think instead of just stopping, let's continue, but ensure that we don't leave the physical side as the one student alluded to.
Right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Singh.
Yes, in my daughter, inference skills also improved. Her general reading comprehension and language expression.
Okay.
And also her IT skills also improved because she was more comfortable with the technology involved in online learning.
All right, all right. So, you know, as I listen, and I'm hearing it again because in several of the presentations that we have had in the past, those things were brought out as being strong points for the online learning. Even the critical thinking that we've been fighting so much with, we have been seeing some more of that coming. Students being able to apply knowledge and not just get the information and know the facts, but be able to apply it to get a different result. So yes, I am so grateful to hear that these are things that we have been seeing our children. Children are becoming even more resilient and wanting to go after. They're becoming researchers and want to explore areas that were not taught in the classroom. So we see a lot of that happening. So finally, Ms. Linda Geese, we want you to talk to parents and teachers about really embracing the online learning now and in the future from a teacher's perspective.
Okay, so I'm going to go off a little bit. So I'm going to go back to some of the challenges that we face with students can't sign on, students and teachers can't hear each other when during class time. We hear a lot of, teacher, you're breaking up. Teacher, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
It's a constant almost every day. Students can't complete work online because of internet problems. We have staff meeting every week. Sometimes online, sometimes we meet at the school, like on Wednesdays. So when we do have online staff meeting, we experience the same thing that the kids experience, so we know that they are not lying.
Right,
You know,
okay.
sometimes I went even as far as calling a student to find out if, because I want to know if it's every time we have classes, we have these difficulties. Sometimes we feel that we are not reaching the students because of this, and every week we have to write a weekly report to our principal, letting her know how the week went, the challenges we face, and stuff like that. So Ms. Blyden, she knows all of our problems, and what we have decided to do through this, especially with grades 5 and 6, we have seek permission to get some of the students to come into school.
Okay.
So a representative from environmental health came over and did an inspection, and we are now back in the classroom,
Okay.
grades 5 and 6.
Okay.
So we started it last week, and
Okay.
it's been very, very good.
Right.
The kids miss each other, and we also, the teachers, miss the students, and there's more interaction going on in the classroom. We still have
Right.
the social distancing,
Yes.
but it's
sanitization and all of that.
exactly.
Yes.
So that's going pretty well for us. I will encourage parents and teachers to still embrace online learning. I don't know how it is on Tortola with the internet and stuff like that, but I think it's going to become a new norm, and like it's going to be blended. I like the blended part of it because we do 2 classes, 2 days in the classroom, and other 3 we do online.
Okay.
So we
All right.
already have the
framework.
exactly.
Right, okay.
And it's working very well. So I would encourage teachers, parents and teachers, still continue to do your research and try to find ways in which you can improve online learning and to help your students. Because I think I really enjoy it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So that brings us to the end of our presentation this afternoon, and definitely, all of you were great. Your contributions were well received, and I'm sure parents and the wider community who are listening, they would have heard some things that are good takeaways to help them to propel. I'm especially really, really grateful to have the parents. I'm happy to have the teacher, and I'm definitely happy to have students on this program. And I do not want to end by just giving you 1/2 a minute to say anything that you would like to say to the listening audience. So you're going to break away from your notes and just say one sentence that you would like them to hear as it pertains to the discussion we've been having this morning this afternoon with the online learning, education now and in the future, embracing the changes. That's a topic that we were looking at. And I want to let you know, listening audience, if you have your questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We will not be able to respond to them as we would have done in a live presentation, because we had this one pre-recorded just to be for the convenience of the sister islands. And so I would invite you still to give us your questions. We will answer them in our next live chat. So let me start with Miss Leah.
I think that we should embrace this online learning because it is good in certain ways, and we should try doing the blended school system because it'll be better for our students. So,
all right, Xavier.
Me, I just want to give and just say thank you to all the teachers and to all the parents that are helping their children with all the work, and the teachers especially, because of the fact that they have to sometimes go the extra mile and tell some children to come to the school because they are not getting to, or some children may have problems. So I just want to say thank you to all the teachers and the parents for all the hard work.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Singh?
I must say that the teachers are to be commended for their hard work and patience. They're doing an awesome job at Bigarda Flack Secondary Division. Yes, so I thank those teachers to go into the extra mile.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smith?
Well, I'm definitely for maintaining the pyramid. So I think going forward, the parents, teacher, and student concept we should embrace it to the fullest. I think we should be intentional with it so that we can actually make this whole new norm something that is so workable for us.
Thank you so much. And Teacher Linda?
Okay, what I realized with online learning, it's some of the students that were shy in the classroom, they actually speak up more now.
All right.
Through online learning. And we do theme teaching at Just Van Dyke, and it's not me only, the other teacher as well. We notice that some students are no longer shy. They're the first to answer questions online. But when they're in the classroom, it's difficult. On my way up this morning, I spoke to a parent, and she said she feels like she's a teacher as well.
All right.
So it's helping it's helping connect students, children, and their parents.
Right, right.
So I was continue to embrace it. I think it has its positive and still its negative, but we're going to focus more on the positive.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so very, very much. And as I bring this program to a close, I just always want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. If you did not agree to come, we would not have been able to do this. And so we are grateful that you're here with us and you have shared from your heart on the topics and the discussion questions that we posed to you. And I want to really thank our listening audience for once again tuning in to chat with the community from the Ministry of Education. As always, I have to give good credit to the Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Whitley. I must say kudos and high commendations to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Caroline Stout-Igwe, for all the work that they've been doing on the front line. It's not easy, but we are grateful for their commitment to the task that they have been faced with. Of course, my awesome team in the Ministry of Education, the education officers, principals on the front line, teachers in every classroom across this territory. I am so grateful for the work that you're doing. If you did not, we could not have. And so I'm grateful and thankful that you're doing, and many of you going the extra mile, going beyond what you were even required to do. I like the collaboration that have started among the teachers, and I really want that to continue into a new school year. And definitely, I really want to commend every worker in the Ministry of Education, because every single one, you have your part to play, and you've been doing an awesome job. Parents, I could never forget to thank you for being parents and teacher. Now you have dual role. You were parent already, and we added a teacher portion. And we are thanking you so much for all that you're doing. And I want finally just to remind persons of the registration that is rapidly coming to a close. Please remember that you need to register your child to enter every and any school you want them to be in the territory through the Ministry of Education. And if you have not done that before, please hasten your steps. Come quickly. Let's see where you are. If you are late, it really slows down things for us. If you miss our deadlines, we get a whole lot more challenges in being able to position. And you know, now that we are going into the COVID-19 setup, we have to really plan. So we are putting our heads together. We have organized committees, and we want to see how we're going to make this work for us come September. Once we are told that we can have some more students on the grounds, we will try to engage in doing just that. And it's going to call for more planning and preparation. So with those words, I want to tell you thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.